Okay. Hello, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Ceci va être en anglais. Et je vais revenir plus tard avec un français. So, welcome everyone. And I'm not sure if anybody's here right now, but I should be live, and hopefully people will tune in. But anyways, the reason why I came is because I sent a letter to the government of the Canadian government, well, Justin Trudeau, and also to the organizers, the ones who we have to report to for Parliament when we rent the Parliament Hill, well, when we get a license for Parliament Hill for special events. And hello, Pam, glad to see you here, as usual, one of our great members and donors for the C.P.U. She's been keeping us alive for a while. Thank you, Pam. So anyway, the reason why I'm here is, again, to make things clear so that there's no misconceptions about what our event is about and why we are doing it. And excuse me, it's just that I'm sitting outside and I've got kind of allergy season happening here. But anyways, bear with me and we'll get through this. I promise you it'll be short enough, but it's a 5-page letter that I sent in regards to our request, because we know our rights, and the city of Ottawa also received our letter, and all of the mayor received his by himself, and we sent one to all the councillors. So hopefully they've had time to read some of it today, and I've also sent it to the RCMP and all of the heads of that organization, because really the RCMP is supposed to be separate from the federal government, and they should be able to launch charges or whatever, and that's what that means, is that they don't rely, they do their own investigations, and the federal government is not supposed to interfere with that. So anyways, the reason behind this again is because we're holding an event on July 30th. It is the most important day of your life and your family's life, because this is the day that we launch our legal self-determination, collective self-determination with all Canadians and Indigenous peoples here in Canada, because this was not done properly in 1982, so we need to do it. And if you want to save your country and your rights to this country and be able to make decisions above the government's decision-making authority that we have right now, this is what we need to do. It can't be done any other way. We have the right to self-determine collectively with all Canadians and the Indigenous nations as many times as we please. And this is something that most officials in Canada, even lawyers, don't even know, because they haven't researched that type of information. So we're here to bring it, okay? And we're gonna open their eyes and their ears and hopefully their hearts, because we need to all work together. And that's the main purpose of what we're doing. We're making sure that there are no misconceptions, okay? And that nothing can be misconstrued. So, in regards to our rights, and what happens is that in Canada, just to explain to you, somebody's making the comment that the truckers knew their rights. Yes, they knew their rights. However, when you're only debating national rights. In our Constitution, the government has the right to remove those rights. And yet those rights in our charter are only the basics. Okay. And then at the same time, when they created the charter, they stole our right to collective self-determination. Okay. And this is why they have to, if you're wondering why they have to consult with the Indigenous nations, it's because the Indigenous nations have their collective rights, but very minimal, because nobody's really watching what's going on here, and the lawyers are not open to that information for some reason. But anyways, there's things that happened in 1982, which I will explain a little bit in the letter. But the main part is that everybody knows their rights, that everybody is able to get their hands on the documents. And I'm going to show you right now through a share screen how to get those documents. So anyways, I'll be right back here with a share screen, and hopefully we're still on that page. Share, nope. Okay, hang on here. There we go. Okay, so when you go to our website at LePowerShift.ca, you'll see the menu here. You go to Resource Hub. Oops, there's myself. I'm going to push myself out of the way here. Resource Hub, and you go down the list and you see Ottawa Open Demand Letter. And this is what I sent. I've posted it for you to see on Facebook in our PowerShift Facebook page. And you'll be able to also get the link to go to the website here to be able to download it for yourself. So you go down here and it says Open Demand Letter of Cooperation to the Federal Government, City of Ottawa, AL. And that means, you know, the City Police, the RCMP, the Canadian Government, Parliament, the security for Parliament, and to make sure that they all understand where they need to be, because what happened on Canada Day was absolutely sickening. The Canadian government, by scanning children who are simply wearing t-shirts and shorts and underwear and sandals, is discrimination. It's also degrading. And you know, for people to actually go through that, to go and celebrate Canada Day, is absolutely horrific. And the government has lost sight of its job for Canadians, and we need to bring that back. So hopefully what we're doing is taking back our rights, because they're being infringed upon, and we have every right to collectively self-determine and also self-govern, which means that we can decide what kind of system we'd want. But right now, the system's not the problem. The system are our politicians. The systematic disease is the politicians. So anyways, I'll get through this. So it's our Dare to Dream to a Better Way Forward, honoring the Two-Road Wampum Treaty, which was established back in 1613 with the Dutch, and then with the French, and then the English. So it's our Power Shift to Freedom Parliament event, July 30th to August 1st, 2022. And the reason why we took 3 days is because July 30th is the day that we want to make sure everybody gets counted. And how you get counted is come to our website, and you'll be able to click on the links. As soon as you come into the website, you'll be able to scroll down a bit, and you'll be able to see how to sign your convention of consent to get counted. That's really important, because that is a legally binding contract between all Canadian citizens who sign it, who agree that yes, they want to exercise their collective political and civil rights, because that is the clincher. Those are the really important rights that we have, other than our human rights, and not charter rights. Okay, charter rights are totally different than international human rights. So we have to make sure that the police and the city of, even the mayor of Ottawa, and the councillors and mayors across Canada and councillors know the legality of what they might be facing in court, because once we are able to remove the focus from the mandates and people really focus on the rights and our international rights, then that'll be kind of the courts will have no choice but to agree that yes, our rights have been abused. Yes, the government is at fault here. And everything that they've been doing for the last couple of years, and even all the way back to 1982, was actually a theft of our rights, and nothing, there's nothing legal about it. Okay, because in the first place, they had to ask us what we wanted within our, if we wanted to accept that constitution to begin with, and that was not done. But the UK gave Canada 15 years to have referendums done with the Indigenous nations and Canadians, and that was never done to this day. So if you want to take your rights, if you can't make it to Parliament Hill on July 30th, please organize yourselves as best as you can across your, within your cities. Go to any building that you can have access to, get your licenses for whatever you need to be able to show that you're all connected to us on that day. And we'll be able to live stream from coast to coast, so that we can get the people's voices, pretty much like what the convoy did, but across the country. So the difference between us and the convoy is that, again, they were using their national rights and provincial rights. Those the government can remove them. But if you know about your international rights, the international rights actually right now supersede all of those rights. And why? Because the Canadian government and the United Kingdom both signed on to them in 1976. So they have to uphold them. No matter what they try to say, the law is the law, and we're going to make sure that they do uphold our rights and that our rights will not be infringed upon, so that we can actually pull off July 30th without any misconceptions, any hinges. And you know, you'll see in the letter exactly what I explained. So here is our actually a photo of our event. I'm just going to expand this so that you can see. And this is the Power Shift to Freedom, Dare to Dream to a Better Way Forward, honoring the Truro Wampum Treaty, Canadian and Indigenous peoples gathering. And it's important that we both peoples unite so that we can start really seeing, you know, because we're not getting rid of government. We're not throwing them out, nothing. We're trying to establish some sort of partnership where they'll understand that we have the final say, not them. And they have to consult with us first before doing anything drastic with this country and our natural resources. And this is what they haven't done with the Indigenous nations. And hopefully now they will take care of really making sure that the nation's rights are not being abused, and neither ours, because ours are being abused as well. So join us and get counted to initiate our collective political and civil rights to self-determination and decolonization. So please learn these words: self-determination. Your best asset are your collective political and civil rights to self-determination. That's what protects us. And the decolonization that was supposed to be happening back in 1960, that all the countries agreed to and then signed on to. So achieving true democracy by placing both the Canadian and Indigenous peoples as equal partners, shareholders, and co-owners of Canada in our Constitution as the final decision makers for our country above governance. Okay, we have the last say. Igniting the conversation and enforcing its legislation is the first step to success. Now, we believe that we can achieve this on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, July 30th and August 1st to August 1st, 2022. And this way is to initiate everything legally the right way. And that's apart from what we've done in the UK. Those are two separate things in the sense, but arrive at the same solution: our freedom. Because true freedom can only be had if a people have final say in their country. We have the final say. So that is freedom. Anything less than that is not freedom. It's a make-believe brainwashing mechanism that they've sold everybody off. Okay, so now we'll go here. You'll be able to see that here's the letter. Here at the top, you see there's a printer. You can print it. And here, if you click on here, you can download it. Okay, so the Canadian People's Union, not-for-profit, Dare to Dream to a Better Way Forward, honoring the Truro Wampum Treaty, Power Shift to Freedom Parliament event, July 30th to August 1st, 2022. And this was written off Schweeken, July 4th, 2022. Open demand letter of cooperation 2. Okay, and that's either through bailiff, fax, or email. Whoever we can't reach by either fax or email, we will send a bailiff there, and it's without prejudice. Okay, we're trying to make them realize what they have done, and to make sure that they no longer do it, and that they follow the rules. But we have to follow the rules as well. Okay, so it's sent to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It's supposed to be Johnson, United Kingdom. Hang on here. I'm just going to do a refresh here because I'm sure I changed that. Let's see here. Oh, it's very slow. Okay, nope, still there. Okay, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Commonwealth, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, provincial premiers, the City of Ottawa Mayor and Councils, Canadian City Mayors and Councils, Canadian Armed Forces, RCMP, Ottawa City Police, Ottawa Senators, not the hockey team, the Senators, Supreme Court of Canada, Superior Court of Justice, Federal Court of Justice, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, and Clément Vull, who is the Special Rapporteur on the rights to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. So really, he's a representative for political and civil rights, okay, at the international level. So to everyone concerned, and this is why we're doing this live, as explained to the Ottawa Parliament event support team for our celebration in July regarding our Dare to Dream to a Better Way Forward, honoring the Tura Wampum Treaty Power Shift to Freedom Parliament event, July 30th and 1st to the 1st, 2022. So we've already communicated with them, but the government kind of, how can I say, not the government, but the security at Parliament turned us down, you know, for some of the things that we needed. But we figured, okay, well, now we got to deal with the city, so we're going to send them the letter as well, and so that again, nothing is misconstrued, no misconceptions here. We need to be, you know, forward with everything that we're doing and honest about it, and this way there should be no mishaps, and people should not be afraid to show up on that day to Parliament Hill, because the intimidation needs to stop now, and everybody needs to know their rights as much as the government needs to know their rights. The Canadian citizens also have rights, and we need to bring them forward. So who are we? There is no need for misconceptions. The Canadian People's Union, Freedom 2017, NFP Inc., is a collective political and civil rights union located on Six Nations territory. We are not associated with any other groups or organizations in Canada. We are not associated with a supposed convoy coming to Ottawa Parliament, nor have we heard of any coming to our or another event during our celebration. However, we have and are inviting all Canadian citizens and Indigenous peoples to participate, since our event is about the responsibility of the Canadian peoples to get educated about our collective rights to self-determination and decolonization. And not to say that like it's not like what they were trying to do is get us to cancel and not even show up on July 30th, to stay away from Ottawa because it might be chaos. So I figured the best way to handle it was through this letter. And but the thing is every Canadian citizen also needs to know this information. So in 1982, Pierre Elliott Trudeau had undertaken that very action, that of self-determination and decolonization for Canada without the consent of Canadians and the Indigenous peoples, all the while keeping democracy for the parliamentarians, commonly known as parliamentary democracy, and as such, a democracy unavailable to either its citizens nor the Indigenous peoples on Canadian soil. And that means that when you go and vote, they only give us two rights, and that's to participate in elections or vote on election day, where in regards to our political and civil rights in the charter. So this is where they stole our major right, which is our collective rights to vote in anything that concerns Canada. Okay, so anyways, with this here, with Pierre Elliott Trudeau, it was a total coup d'etat that was had. So we're trying to take care of that with the letter to the UK and getting lawyers working there. So parliamentary democracy means that it's the parliamentarians only that vote on issues in Parliament. You no longer have a say, and then they have to toe the party line, which means that again, you have no say. Okay, so to say that if you vote for that person, you have to vote for their platform, and they don't even need to bring about their platform. They can turn around and do whatever the hell they want, and there's nothing we can do about it legally other than through our collective political and civil rights. Okay. So the objective of this event is to show public interest, education, and discussion about our collective political and civil rights, and to get counted as the official launch. It is also to discuss past, present, and future issues we need to repair together. There is no need for chaos when the people understand their responsibilities to their country and its peoples. Collective self-determination as a nation by the peoples can be undertaken as many times as we choose. Reconciliation begins with both peoples understanding each other in respect and harmony. This is an excerpt from the letter to the United Kingdom on March 3rd, 2022. Know that you are all equal shareholders, co-owners of Canada, the Crown, and the Crown Corporation and its assets. Now, the blurb says, Read Canada Act 1982, corrections and formal proclamation. Please accept our respectful request for assistance for final corrections to the Canada Act 1982, stemming from the Canadian government failing to meet its obligations to the people of Canada by 1997. Given that the Imperial Parliament of the United Kingdom still has policy responsibility over the Canada Act 1982, as it received royal assent within the Imperial Parliament and is still in force within your legislature. We further request a formal proclamation regarding these corrections as soon as possible to save our country and to restore peace, order, and good governance. And what the correction is to place in Section 9 the people, Canadian citizens, and Indigenous nations as equal partners, shareholders, co-owners of the Crown of Canada, with executive and prerogative powers over our government. So it's no joke. Okay, it's serious. So we are presently working with legal representation in the United Kingdom and in Canada. However, at the moment, this issue is with the UK, not Canada, because it's the UK that needs to make the correction. Because to this day, our constitution has not been ratified properly by the people. Okay, and that's where that comes in. So the best way to achieve collective self-determination and decolonization is to legally include the Indigenous peoples of Canada as equal partners, shareholders, co-owners, and final decision makers with Canadians on each side of the two-rule wampum treaty of our country in our constitution. Igniting the conversation and enforcing its legislation in the United Kingdom is the first step to success. We can achieve this on Parliament Hill, July 30th to August 1st, 2022, by educating everyone and begin to repair the past and present for a brighter future. It is our collective legal right to do so at any time without interference, even during a pandemic or war. The United Kingdom and our government are lawfully bound to respect and honor what we are doing. They must also assist us with whatever is required, including in financial capacity, to move forward. Our government has also signed on to the international non-derogation of our rights. Thus, they cannot limit any of our rights, nor intrude or intimidate us in achieving these legal rights. They must also set up a team of lawyers to assist us or any other group who are protesting. So really what happens is the United Nations, in the agreements for our political and civil rights, they made an agreement that there needs to be at least a group of lawyers to be on hand whenever there's a protest. Canada has never done that. The United States, apparently they have two groups that do that, okay? So it is our collective legal right. I've already read that, okay, so, however, let's be clear. Okay, we are not a protest. We are about legally, lawfully asserting our collective political and civil rights, education, respect, prosperity, and the unity of our country and its peoples, working with a governance we can trust to protect our rights, our country, and our future. And the first step to that is for them to assist us in every which way they can, July 30th. Now, this pan-Canadian celebration will demonstrate that Canadians can undertake their responsibility to their country, its peoples, and governance in a peaceful, respectful manner. Keeping our country intact and safe from chaos and corruption is our top priority for our country and for the sake of our children and their future. To achieve this objective, a great working relationship must be built, which includes all levels of our governance and especially security. We hope that you all agree. We need to work together with the levels of government and the City of Ottawa in mutual respect to make this celebration a success for all Canadians and Indigenous peoples. We and the Ottawa citizens are all co-owners and shareholders of this country. It is time for everyone to understand what that means. So everybody that really works for the government are working for the corporation that they own shares to. Okay, and the people in Ottawa have no reason to be upset when people come to Ottawa to stand up for their rights as well as their own. So they need to understand what this means in regards to self-determination and self-governance, and that means that we, the people, have the final decision-making authority. So there is no reason to block the city core on that weekend without prejudice. But if you do, when you risk interfering with the legal rights of the people, but if you do, then you risk interfering with the legal rights of the people. And that is so true, because every time they've done that so far, they have infringed on our rights. They have broken international law. Now, the city of Ottawa, the province, and the federal government will need to tread lightly so as not to try to intimidate using police dressed in military assault gear or apply military-style crowd control procedures. Compromise needs to be discussed. The people want and need to be free to go where they wish without heavy-handed repercussions. This includes the elders that will be coming. There is no need for trucks to overtake Parliament. It is not what our event is about. The celebration is about all Canadians and Indigenous peoples uniting lawfully without interference to exercise our collective political and civil rights. We want the people to honor our city by sightseeing, enjoying the restaurants and other amenities Ottawa has to offer. We are not about bullying, nor do we want to be bullied either. And, you know, in regards to the truckers, the convoys, there's nothing that stops the city from sending out bus loads, have the trucks park in a huge parking lot somewhere, and then have city buses to pick up everybody to bring them downtown if that's what they're afraid of. Okay. But truckers have the right, just as everybody else, to be there. Mind you, having big trucks down in the downtown core would be hard for the elders to, to get around and everything else. And it could be more of a nuisance. But the point of our event is not about any of that. It's about exercising our political and civil rights together in unity and enjoying the city for what it is. It is ours. Okay, so just as an FYI, not yet. Okay, this celebration is about all Canadian and Indigenous peoples uniting lawfully without interference to exercise our collective political and civil rights. We want the people to honor our city by sightseeing, enjoying the restaurants and other amenities Ottawa has to offer. We are not about bullying, nor do we want to be bullied either. The reason why I repeated this is because this is what needs to be made clear, okay? As much as we don't want to be bullied, we can't bully them either. There are rules. The government has some rights, the city has some rights, and we have to honor everybody's rights and make sure that this pulls off without a hitch. Now, just as an FYI, government and city employees, all police, RCMP officers, and military personnel also have the right to participate in our event, as they too are equal shareholders, co-owners of our country, with all Canadians and Indigenous peoples as their collective political and civil rights trump their government and city employee status. The reason this was incorporated in there is because I remember when I went to Ottawa with the Convention of Consent in 2015, the RCMP officers that, said, Nicole, we'd love to sign it. We're worried about our pensions too and our children's futures, but we have to keep the status quo. Nobody that works for the federal government is allowed to sign any of this. And then I started thinking, well, yeah, but you're a shareholder, co-owner of the Crown of Canada. That supersedes your employee status. So this is why I'm reiterating it here, okay? No corporation nor government demands, such as that, can overrule their lawful rights. Otherwise, it would be deemed intimidation and coercion. They have the right to sign their Convention of Consent with all other Canadians and participate in the acknowledgement of their collective civil and political rights. These statements may seem bold, but it is reality. Therefore, it is expected that this is to be a wonderful celebration united by our collective political and civil rights, and for all to enjoy what the city has to offer, instead of having to walk through a war zone. The peoples across Canada are co-owners of the city and the parliament and everything pertaining to it. Let's work together to find a way to compromise by letting them enjoy it without restrictions. We want people walking the streets, not hindered by trucks, SWAT teams, or barricades blocking entrances. Do you agree? And that should have included children being scanned and adults. Okay, that is totally ridiculous. That went beyond treating us as citizens, Canadian citizens. That was treating us as potential terrorists in our own country when we are the co-owners, shareholders of the Crown of Canada legally. And when I say legally, maybe not according to our Constitution, but according to the international law, yes, it is. Okay. And the government doesn't not have total power. That power can be removed. And this is why, hopefully, this message will be loud and clear. They will back off and allow the people to start living again. So something needs to happen here. We need to save our country. We need to stand up, but we need to do it legally. And the government also has to act legally, because there's not just our country involved in this. Other countries, the UK is involved, and by rights, we could sue the UK for having a shoddy government right now, because their cohorts really since 1982. So it's in the best interest of the UK to do what they are asked, which is placing us as the head of state in our Constitution, along with the Indigenous nations. Okay, and that's not to toss out Trudeau, but being that means that we have the right to keep the prerogative power and the executive power. Nothing in law says that we can't do this. Okay. So Canadians and Indigenous peoples have non-derogation rights that trump emergency measures. I have inserted documents for you to read and to give to your legal advisors prior to undertaking illegal activities against the people's rights, to make certain that everything remains peaceful. It is your responsibility and the government's to educate the RCMP, the city police, and all others, such as the employees who should be working with us to ensure that peace is respected by all, and more specifically, security enforcement officials, so that our collective political and civil rights are protected and that our goals are achieved without interference. The help we require to make this a peaceful success and enjoyable holiday weekend is as follows, but not limited to. We would need to set up tents on the sidewalk in front of Parliament Hill, and I am requesting that one block across in front of Parliament Hill to be reserved for a block party. We also need for Parliament to allow us to place porta potties on the hill or on the aforementioned block, since elders will have too far to walk to access the bathrooms. We would also require additional tents. We are only permitted one on the hill for the elders to have respite from the rain or the heat of the sun. We plan on having only one march beginning at the Park of the Provinces to Parliament Hill at 11 a.m. on July 30th. Ceremonies will begin at noon. We have requested a stage and plan to have everyone sit to watch the speakers explain the treaties, dances, drumming, and other educational heritage activities, etc. We have and are requesting that people leave Parliament Hill by 5 p.m. to enjoy some sightseeing and partake in other Ottawa celebration activities. We have 5 attachments. 5 attachments are available below. Our website is LePowerShift.ca, and our Facebook page link to the event. So I hope this satisfies your questions completely. If not, please contact me ASAP so that we can work together in a collaborative effort to ensure a safe environment for a fantastic weekend. I leave you with this last note. Pacta sunt servanda. Okay, and this is something that I took from 2 gentlemen here in Montreal. Well, not here, but in Montreal. And these are Canadian lawyers. Okay, so conclusion: Pacta sunt servanda is not only a central principle of public international law, It is a universal principle of law to be found in all major legal systems. And this serves as a reminder to the government people and the police and everybody else. It is a principle of Canadian civil and common law. It is to be found in a host of federal and provincial statutes. For this and for the other reasons given, it is incumbent on the Canadian judiciary to adopt an approach to public international law that promotes respect for pacta sunt servanda by recognizing that Canada's treaty obligations regulate the exercise of executive power in the domestic as well as the international sphere. Now, what that means is that pacta sunt servanda means all treaties must be honored. Okay, and in our research, what we had found is that at the international level, even like in the UK, and especially since our constitution is still there in their legislature, it means that they still have parliamentary sovereignty over that constitution right now. But usually they do not act on anything unless Canada asks for it. But it also has to come from the people. And this is where 1982, Trudeau failed. Okay, Pierre-Luc Trudeau. So now his son is, you know, overreaching his rights. And what this means is that, again, the executive power, okay, our treaties, okay, like our rights, the human rights, the United Nations human rights, and our collective and political civil rights that Canada and the UK both signed on to, give us, kind of took away some of the power of the premiers, okay, and prime ministers. So that means that now they have to deal with us, and they have to protect those rights. So that means that they lost power there, okay, in the domestic, which means national and provincial, or even within city limits. So both the province, the feds, and the mayors need to watch their steps, okay, across every city in Canada. And most of them, I think, do not even know half of what the law states or even what the right states. But most people tend to forget, or even lawyers in Canada tend to forget about international law. If this had been used, I've been after them since March of 2021 to use the international law, because the international law dictates what the Canadian government can and cannot do in an emergency. Or the provinces, Canada did not file for emergencies until the convoy. And actually, the minute that we reach 4 to 5 provinces, they should have had to be able to justify that. And there are regulations to follow. So if you're looking at our charter, there are no regulations for public health to be overriding, because everything that's been done since 1982 in our constitutions is basically a fraud, okay, upon the people. And it's also to ensure the government's power over the people. And they've always done that. Actually, it started back in the 1970s. So anyways, I'll continue here. So really, they have to be careful. So this information, okay, comes from the implementation and reception, the to congeniality of Canada's legal order to international law. And this was from Armand de Mestral and Evan Fox Descent from McGill University. Okay, here you'll see this is the news UN from the UN.org, and it's about the document that I've been spreading around that everybody needs to have in Canada, that you need to learn about, because they need, even the police, the city councilors, everybody at the federal and provincial departments who are dealing with the public need to know this, and especially public health. So these are our rights, and they cannot derogate from it. We need to bring that about in a court of law. We can't do that right now because we're dealing with changing our constitution at the UK level, since they still have the power to do so, especially if the people demand it. So we are now demanding. Okay. So anyways, but that's why we need you all standing up across Canada, and support what we are doing, physically, financially, and everything, because this is a huge endeavor. It's the first time in the history of Canada that this is being done. We need your help. Okay, so now I put down as well to warn all of the major cities in Canada that autonomous cities in Canada are unconstitutional. Okay, so if the mayor of Ottawa and any mayor across Canada, you know, the global parliament of mayor or all of these people think that they can overrule our rights, I'm sorry, but we all need to look into this. And the reason why I'm able to speak about laws and things like that is because they are in fact laws in fact, are we have rights in fact. So I'm not giving anybody any legal rights. What I'm giving or legal advice, I should say, what I'm doing is I'm exercising my collective political and civil rights, which gives us the right to talk about the legality of everything. Okay, and together with Canadian citizens, which is what I'm doing online. And according to the new document here, okay, assembly, this here says that they're not even allowed, the government is not even allowed to stop an event because, oh, it might be dangerous. Scanning children because, oh, it might be dangerous. They had no right to do such things. Okay, so please go and read these, download them all. You'll have the non-derogation files, file which speaks about the non-derogation during COVID or even war. This is the C.P.U. Official request to the United Kingdom. These are the some of the emergency measures for when they really discriminate against people, or how can I say, people in jails and stuff like that about their rights, and you know, mistreating people in COVID seclusion. Invitation, and here is the invitation to our event on July 30th, so they can see exactly what we are doing. So I thank you in advance for all of your time and consideration, and look forward to hearing from you and to receiving your full cooperation and collaboration to a better Canada and future for all. Respectfully and warmest regards, Nicole Lebrasseur. Okay, so now here we have the French version that was actually translated for the people, but it's not the original like the original document that left is in English. So you always refer to the English one for legality. Okay, so now we go down here, and just below that you'll have again, download the we have the links in the PDF, and then we have the links here below. If you just want to go and get that, you can get them here. Okay, so let's say you click on this, you'll be brought to this page here, and then you click on the little arrow here and it'll download. So this is the most important document right now that should be sitting in your files. General comment number 37, 2020, on the right of peaceful assembly. And I suggest that you read it right to the end and try to understand it as much as possible. And if you know, lawyers or whatever, all lawyers should have this, because Canadian lawyers are so used to just dealing with the national level or provincial level. They're not really in the know about this. The same thing with you know, even the premiers don't know, half of them don't know the law. So how can you be a premier of a province if you don't know the first thing about taking care of your people and making sure that you speak for them and not for the ones that bankroll you? And this is what's been happening in Canada. So anyways, I will stop share here, and we're pretty much done with that. But we wanted to just make everything clear. And as you can see, we're going to have at the event, we're only allowing, we're not allowing anything that's derogatory. Okay, you know, the F Trudeau and all of this thing. We don't need that. This is not what our event is about. Our event is about becoming truly free as Canadian citizens, because Canadian citizens cannot be free until we rule over our governance. And by voting every 4 years does not mean that. Okay, that's a crock. So we need to be in charge of our rights, our natural resources, but we also need to be responsible. So we need to act as responsible adults that, yes, deserve a country. And the biggest company across Canada is Canada Inc. in a sense, and we need to take care of it. We need to make sure that everybody's treated fairly, properly, that nobody goes without. And like I said, our governments can fix all this. They can help us with all that, but they need to start. They need to be put back in their rightful places legally. And this is what we plan on doing, because it hasn't been done by any government that has been in Ottawa since, or even the provincials. Even the provinces are just as guilty. So none of the politicians have ever worked for the people since 1931. Okay, none of them. So anybody that claims to be doing that would be alongside with us. Any politician that says, yes, I'm signing my convention of consent, and yes, if they're a political party, then they get together and say, okay, well, we want to join in this too. We want to represent the people. Yes, it's true. It's our job to represent the people, not our political parties. Towing the line for our political parties or those who pay us well, to override the people's needs. So we got to put the people first, and it's about saving our country. It's about saving our lives and the lives of our children and our elders, and protecting everybody. And everybody should have the right to water. Everybody should have right to homes. There's no reason for this in Canada. We can work together and figure out how we can turn taxation into dividends. There's many ways of doing it. Can't wait to get to that cycle. But first we got to get over the humps here, because you need to think, as long as we focus only on the mandates, nothing will get done. The justices will not make good calls on that. So a lot of people are losing their cases. It's a waste of time, waste of energy right now. Mind you, it's good for after, but the thing is what's going to stop everything real fast is you being in Ottawa July 30th, or in your city, organizing with all of your friends and family and everybody to stand up from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. On that day. So please join us. It's your rights. You truly want freedom. Right now people are screaming freedom and they have no clue what they're screaming, because as long as you do not self-determine collectively with all other Canadians and Indigenous peoples, it's our legal right. We already have the right to do so. We're already recognized as they have to answer to the public. It is our money. So never think that when the government is sending you a $500 check or whatever, it's not their money. They're only giving you back your money. So they're buying you off with your own money. Stop the insanity. Power shift to freedom for your right to choose. And we need to teach all of our children what true democracy is. And again, that will be taught within the great, that's being taught as well within the great law. So should be fun to get together and get this done. This is history in the makings, people. And if Justin Trudeau and the mayor of Ottawa don't take us seriously, they need to. Because every police officer, every RCMP, every councillor, every mayor is a co-owner shareholder of the Crown of Canada with all of us. If they really want this country, really care about the people, really care about their families, they need to stop the insanity, side with the people. Same as with military personnel. Your first order is not as a military person. Your first order is as a Canadian citizen, as an equal shareholder, co-owner of the Crown of Canada. Stand with us, be proud, and we can change everything, not just for us, but worldwide. Every country has the right to do this. Thank you. Go to LePowerShift.ca, and we will have umbrellas. Mind you, they came out a little rough there. I guess they were sweating a bit, and some of the ink came off here and there, or spread, I should say. But you'll be seeing those. They're just as good as signs, and actually, we only want signs that actually speak what you want. Power shift to freedom. You want to exercise your political and civil rights. Always quote that. political and civil, you're exercising your collective and personal political and civil rights. As long as you claim collective, we're allowed to discuss everything and anything under the sun in regards to that, on how we're going to govern ourselves and how our governance is going to have to now really work for the people. It's not about overtaking the government. It's not about doing any of that. Our system actually works. We have great people who work in government who make sure that your checks came in every month, that there were no delays. And what better way of the co-owners, shareholders of the Crown of Canada, working right there in our business together to make sure everybody is happy. And that can change everything, people. Even the politicians, they are all each shareholders, co-owners of the Crown of Canada with us all. It's just too bad that some have more ego and are cockier than others and don't work for the people. To work for the people means signing your Citizens Convention of Consent and standing with us and handing over this country to the people as the final decision makers, which is our right to already do so. We already have that right. Be honest, be brave, and join us, LePowerShift.ca. Bye-bye.